Now the screen has a new definition of terror.
Is there anything I ought to know, Mrs. Lloyd?
No. Mrs. Lloyd's real husband's in a nut house.
Oh, she's a sensible girl. She won't be frightened.
Fright, an experience ripped out of a nightmare.
I'm sorry. Oh, Tara, I'm sorry.
Fright. Once it gets hold of you, it never lets go.
On a warm September evening,
Dr. Malakis?
Jill Johnson was babysitting for the two young children of a wealthy doctor.
Okay. Bye.
They told her where they would be and when they would be home. They told her everything she had to know, except what to do when a stranger calls.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
What? Hello, could you get me the police?
Well, there's really nothing you can do about it down here.
Have you checked the children?
He's watching me through the windows.
So that if he calls again, we can try to trace it.
Why haven't you checked the children?
Please, can't you help me? I'm all alone here. What do you want?
Your blood.
Leave me alone!
Jill, this is Sergeant Sacker. We've traced the call. It's coming from inside the house. Jill, just get out of that house.
And the terror just begins when a stranger calls.
And with that, we are live. This is Slasher Stream, episode 12. We're talking about home invasions and babysitters in peril. I am Black Glove Reviews, also known as Chris C., joined by my buddy Darren from Subjective Perspective Collective. As always, how are we doing today?
Very well, man. Really looking forward to what you are going to make of these two. Because I presume these were like two first-time watches for you?
When a Stranger Calls, I've seen before.
Okay.
You can see this, it randomly kind of picks up on streaming services and what have you. And then, second time watch, it's still a very good one. And then the other one, of course, which is Fright. So we're talking about these two films right here, Fright from 1971 with the very great and beautiful and sexy Susan George. Susan George. And then, of course, we have When a Stranger Calls. So, these are, so one in 71, one in 79. Fright in particular is kind of like a template for what we would get in the future for hider in the house type films like this, home invasion films like this as well. And these are two good ones that are heavily slasher elements. And really, in one of these films, it's just really two people that you see die. So, or you don't see die, but they're very slasher-like, and that's why we put them in here. I'm very happy that Darren suggested these. Your thoughts on these two films there, Darren?
I think, like, when we were talking about putting this together, these two films come to mind because they pretty much, I think, go hand in hand. And there's scenes, which we'll come up. We'll come on to all the scenes and that, but some of the scenes are very similar in ways, between the two films. I've always been a huge fan of both. Fright has actually gone up a little bit for me this time round. When a Stranger Calls has always been in my top, say, 20 slashers, and it's rising all the time. And that film never gets talked about much at all, and it kind of like pisses me off because I think, well, we'll come on to it. I actually think it's a banger, When a Stranger Calls, as I do Fright as well for different reasons. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, Fright's a gem in the horror genre. Of course, it's a British film, as I call it, what have you. A film by the very late, great Peter Cullison, who did, he did The Italian Job. He did some other films too that are a little different in this kind of vein. Both these are Babysitters in Peril. Both films almost start out the same way. I forget how equal they are. Fright particularly is very eerily to what you can see that Mr. Clark did for Black Christmas. You can see that whole idea with the phone calls and what have you. And Susan George, the very beautiful and sexy Susan George, who would do another film called Straw Dogs, if you don't know. She stars as the babysitter in this as well. This was done in 1971. Also known as I'm Not Alone and I'm Scared. Also Night Legs.
Yeah.
So these are very good films. Of course, When a Stranger Calls. The opening scene is in like top 100 scariest horror scenes of all time. A lot of people like to say shit on it, saying the first half is great and the last part is great. Then they say the middle part is basically midwise. Both these are character pieces, in my opinion. This was during a time in the 70s where they more go towards the killer's thoughts and what the killer does. Very eerily, too, to later films like The Stepfather. I like in these films, too, a lot, too, as well, considering that one scene when he looks in the mirror and he asks who he is, There's a scene like that, of course, but we'll get to in When a Stranger Calls. It comes to like a slasher to me because it has that, person in peril. You don't see the person at the start. You don't know. And then you do see. You have the FPS person point of view of that as well. The camera angles, all this stuff too. These directors, and I call them maverick directors, they knew what they were doing, and they wanted to bring something different to this genre. Of course, Fright, of course, at the start of, really, you can say the start of the boom in grittier, grindhouse type horror films. And, you had these directors just saying, hey, why not? Let's put this into it and stuff like that, with these British actors and actresses that were very good from TV and from other stuff, would do later stuff. And it's cool just seeing people like that in these roles where it's like, yeah, it just seems to work in these. Both these are bangers, by the way.
Well, I grew up with a lot of the actors on TV. Susan George was forever on TV in the UK.
Yeah.
Honor Blackman, George Cole, Dennis Waterman. They were in situation comedies, which, to see them in a horror film now is kind of like jarring a little bit, but they're great in this. And yeah, I mean, in terms of like this style of film, the UK, we, from say 1968, we kind of went into like these like thrillers, which you could borderline slashers. There was one called Twisted Nerve in 1968 with Hugh Bennett. That's another great film. There's one called The Haunted House of Horror, which came in 69. And then this is kind of one of the next sort of ones that come along. But like you say, 71, this is way before Halloween. And I do actually think another one like When a Stranger Calls, I think this is underrated. Now and again you will hear the odd person bring it up, but not many people, I don't think, know this. See No Evil as well with Mia Farrow. That's another great one around the same time.
Yeah, it's very good. Even go with later films, like you say, in the 60s, where they just push the envelope. Mr. Lewis with Blood Feast, films like that, where they push the envelope to what maybe gore would later become in films, like say Psycho, and but they just push it a lot, considering that children are used in these films, where they weren't necessarily used in the other films of that time. Earlier, they put them in here, specifically in Fright, and we're going to get to that right now. So we're talking about this film right here, Fright, 1971. Like I say, also called I'm Alone and and I'm Scared. And then, of course, Night Legs. That's just a great name. Directed by the very late, great Peter Cullinson, who he died in 1980. Only 44 years old. May he long rest in peace. He did he did The Italian Job, A Long Day's Dying, and passed away at 44 years old. Rest in peace. Real quick, this film grossed in the U.S. and Canada about 169,246, which is about right. I don't know that this would be considered a video nasty, but it's dangerously kind of close to that, considering certain situations that come up in here. The writer is Tudor Gates. It stars Susan George as Amanda, Honor Blackman as Helen Lloyd. Of course, I mention her because she did look familiar. She was a Bond girl in Bond films. George Cole as Jim Lloyd, Dennis Waterman as Chris, Ian Bannon as Brian Halston, and John Gregson as Dr. Gareth Cordell. And this was filmed at Shepperton, I think it is. I think that's what you call it, studios in the UK. And
in London, right about the London area.
Real quick shout out to Hammer Films, because basically Amanda's watching the TV. That's a Plague of Zombies that's playing on there. I noticed that the minute I saw that in black and white.
Yeah.
So it's it's a very good one. Like I say, it's a babysitter in peril type of a film, of course, like that. And it's also a home invasion. Go ahead, Darren, start us off.
Right. So yeah, you just pretty much said about the cast. I do want to say Peter Collinson, he did direct a version of The Spiral Staircase in 1975.
Yes.
He did a version of 10 Little Indians in 74. Straight On Till Morning, the Hammer film. That's kind of like a thriller in this kind of vein as well. He did do that.
I think Hammer Studios is releasing that through their site. I think that's the one. They have some interesting ones that they're releasing. That may be one of them. It's like non-type of Hammer film that is Hammer film. You'd know it if you saw it.
I got it in like a Hammer 20 box set, literally
nice
over there. Yeah. In terms of music by Harry Robertson, he did the music for Twins of Evil, The Ghoul, Demons in the Mind. That's another Hammer kind of thriller. That's pretty good. But yeah, the Lust for a Vampire, The Vampire Lovers. So the list goes on music wise. Susan George, I just want to briefly say some of the credits she has. Jack the Ripper in 1988 with Michael Caine. The House Where Evil Dwells in 82. Venom 1981. That one was with the guy from Burnt Offering. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that one. Okay.
Yeah. She obviously did Straw Dogs, but she did kind of like a British giallo called Die Screaming Marianne, which I suggest people seeking out, by Pete Walker. And yeah, Honor Blackman, like you say, great Bond girl. She did a version of The Cat and the Canary in 1978, which I've got the DVD. I've never seen it, which I'm kind of interested in now. But for me, I think the star of the show is Jack Bannon, who plays the killer, Brian Halson. And that's not a spoiler because you know that straight away.
They state that. It takes a second, but yeah, you state it when the family starts discussing about them, when you realize they're not who they claim to be, or one of them isn't.
Right, and people might want to check out a film called Identicut, aka The Driver's Seat with Elizabeth Taylor, and he's in that as well, and he's fucking brilliant. I think in most roles I've seen him in.
Russell makes a good point. Susan George was only 20 when she did Straw Dogs. That's right. So she plays like a high schooler. So think around 17 or something like that. But that's okay. It was low brow at the time. We don't think of that now. She looked damn good in that in that gear she had on. I'm just saying. But,
such a beautiful actress. Yeah, she did work with Collinson on Up the Junction in 1968, and then for her to get this role, I think he was mentioning before we come on screen that maybe an actress dropped out. But he said about Susan George, he said, I didn't even have to cast her. She was definitely, going to play the part in the end. This one, yeah, like you say, this really could and should be mentioned a lot more, I think. This should be in kind of some of the creepiest kind of clip shows you see, you know, of films of that nature.
This is a gem. I highly suggest people watch this. Like this
Yeah.
was during the Kino sale. I picked this up for like $20. It comes with a slip. It's bare bones, but it has this one has an audio commentary by film historian Howard S. Berger. I've listened to his stuff before. He's very good with that, and of course theatrical trailers for the director's films as well. But this was a good release. It looks good. This is a gem, definitely.
These two films as well rely heavily on suspense.
Yes.
Rather than and they you can put them in the slasher list for sure. I think even
Newman mentioned if this would have been made in the 80s, there probably would have been a body count as part of
and you
this.
would have had a mass killer as well.
Yeah, you would have a mass killer. Yeah.
These are kind of more realistic scenarios, I think. Even though I guess, you know, when a stranger calls, you've got the whole Halloween thing where he escapes the asylum, which we'll come on to. But we could go through the films if that's what you want to do. Start off.
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah, just kind of start us out, and we'll go on from there.
So with Fright, it opens up with the song "Ladybird," and it's kind of a theme song for the whole film.
Yes,
it's kind of this almost like a lullaby, isn't it? You know,
at the ending when they sing the song, when she sings the song again, she's actually crying when that's going on. She gets emotional during that, which is crazy good. That's what the effect goes on. So it adds more to the effect. When you see Susan George at the end of this film, man, you feel for her so badly. You almost cry as she cries. It's pretty brutal stuff.
Oh yeah, you could see like with her character what she goes through, and then the end result being, you know, which we'll come on to. But the opening scene, so you got Amanda, which is Susan George, the babysitter, and you see her walking up through the woods. You know, very similar early scene to When a Stranger Calls, and she's walking up to this very eerie large estate, and she's babysitting for Helen and Jim, and they have like a 3-year-old son, Tara, who, by the way, the actor was the director's real son in real life. Which is, because he had a lot of flack for that, apparently, because there's a scene.
Yeah, because they thought maybe the child would be traumatized because probably a fake knife, or really it's a piece of glass is put up to him. And throughout the film, he gets held and stuff like that, and had it put up like way up there. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
I mean, 3 years old. He's a good little actor, like, you know. He
is.
Like he says, "Are you going to kill me?" And
he's very intelligent. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But like early on, then, so Amanda comes up to the door. They invite her in and all that. But then she wonders why Helen is just got all these bolts all over the door. You know, like too many to what you'd usually have.
Yeah.
So she's like looking and she's thinking, "What the hell's going on?" But it's like this pretty old house. It's creaky everywhere. You know, the taps make a noise, and it all adds to the suspense of the scenes. I think Jim teases her early on about there being a ghost and a poltergeist in the house as well.
Yeah, because who you think is his wife, like, tells him, like, you know, the cat's like in the cradle with their son. He goes, why is he in there? Why is he in there? It's like, just wanted to play with him and stuff like that too. That comes into play later. There's a lot of PTSD in here. You see that when they talk about that later.
The only real twist, I suppose, is like what you just said, is that the couple at the start are not really married or anything, and then
they're not married.
You get like a twist to that tale.
That's what the boyfriend, or the boyfriend Chris mentions, is, you know, the story about him, right? You know, that's not from the previous babysitter that was there, that knows what's going on with that.
Right, and they had like an old aunt who died in the house as well.
Yes,
like,
an old aunt. Yeah, it has a gothic atmosphere to it a bit.
Oh, this is like, you could put this into like a haunted house type scenario as well, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of The Changeling in places where you've got the noises of the, you know, and the whole house is just creaking. And
it's a really nice house too. It's an old school house. They show all around the house. That's what I like about this film. It's all enclosed in this house. I like films like that. It's cohabitation horror. I think that's what you call it when everything's done around that facility. You know, of course they show, because this is like a village type place, like a country type village type place like that. It's a trip because when they go out on their date, basically, because they haven't had one forever, they mention that. And they go to this place and they park, dude. And it's like, you drive in there. It's like, dude, how can you drive through those cars? It's so condensed. And they just park on the side and just go into the bar.
Oh, yeah, and so the couple then, they're going out to celebrate an anniversary. I think it is of some sort, which we'll find out what that is. It's not really an anniversary, she says, but she's very nervous, Helen, about leaving her son. So, the couples ask themselves as they're going off in the car, what do you think she knows? Does she know anything? And like, as a viewer watching on, like, we're thinking to ourselves as well, what's going on? What's all this about? And then you've got your typical kind of Halloween style scenario where she's in the house all alone. She's babysitting, she's making a cup of tea, and you've got all these strange noises, as I mentioned earlier.
It's a good jump scare. It's a good jump scare when you hear the tapping at the door or hear something. You go outside. It's one of those. I forget what it's called. You hang dry clothes, and it's all going, and it just hit the branch and stuff like that, and that's kind of a trip and stuff. You do see
washing line, they call it here. Yeah,
you do see a face through the window, which she doesn't see. Or you think you see certain shadows and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a good creep factor.
She's got a whole presence of like she's being watched as well.
Yes.
And that face at the window, I don't know about you, but I paused that, and I don't even think it's like the killer. I know it's supposed to be the killer's face, Brian.
It's kind of, I never thought about doing that, because it's very blurry. You almost thought it was like raining outside, but it's not.
Like another actor maybe or whatever, just to like, I don't know why. Maybe it was done later on after after the initial filming, or whether it's done to just just to creep you out and put you on edge type thing. But yeah, that's like the main kind of early jump scene, really, where it ends up like I think her boyfriend Chris ends up coming to the door. He arrives.
He's the one that's knocking, asking who is it and stuff, because she gets the well, first off, the kid wakes up, and so she picks him up and stuff like that. He's quite big for being 3 years old. Of course, she's a petite, beautiful little thing. Picks him up and just goes to the door, finds out it's like Chris, and keeps him out there for a bit and stuff like that. Like, I'll think about it and all this stuff. That's where the sexual tension is a little bit with there at the start of that, where it's like going, like, how dare you scare me? It wasn't me doing that. It's like you scared me at the window. I know you were there. All this other stuff too.
It's implied that she's a virgin as well, which later on in the film there's this ambiguous scene where you don't know if she loses her virginity during the film by the killer, but and I presume we're gonna end up spoiling this anyway.
Well, there was sexy time between her and the boyfriend and stuff, because she gets scared because he starts talking, like you say. It's like, did you know that's not her real husband? Yeah, because his husband was put into a sane asylum because he tried to kill them both, which the wife will later describe in better, more glorified terms and what have you, and says, the previous babysitter said that, like you said, an aunt or some relative died there at the house. Like, stop it. And she all hugs him and all this other stuff too. That's where the music starts, and he tries to get a little something from her.
Oh yeah. So he's been like, he's goofing around. He's telling her all these stories, and you don't know if they're true or if he's just, trying to scare her. Helen, we find out then, is celebrating a divorce from her husband. Helen and Jim, in fact, aren't married, and her real husband is in a mental home.
Yeah, because we get introduced to the doctor. To Dr. Gareth Cordell, played by John Gregson. You don't know at the start, because he's trying to comfort her, like going, it's okay, you're supposed to have fun here and what have you.
Trying to get her to relax, have a drink.
That's where she decides to just make a quick phone call to make sure everything is okay. And that's when they're all like doing the do and stuff like that too. And boy, spoils that, because she's very I like her part in this because she's very hesitant with like a lot of things. It's like you're feeling for her. You would just want to punch that dude in the flipping mouth.
Yeah, he's
Because
just
well,
all about just getting his end away.
yeah,
Isn't he?
he's a
All he
little
wants to do
little
is
creeper and
upset.
stuff like that too. I'm like, man, you got to work for that stuff.
But yeah, so she gets into the interrupted, you know, when they're having sex or planning to have sex with the phone call.
Yeah, he's all messing
Um,
around with her and stuff like that, doing like the Hunchback of Notre Dame type of thing and stuff like
yeah,
that
yeah,
too.
which
She's
is
just telling
weird,
you,
man.
shut up.
It's weird knowing that actor as well in the UK is like so like well known, and I've seen him in so many things. To see him in
It
this,
lightens the mood up a bit. I'm sure he did that on purpose on set, just to lighten the mood a bit because this is a dark film. You know what I mean? She's like, dude.
well, it was all improvised. All his a lot of his parts were improvised. By
It looks
himself.
like it. It looks like he
Yeah.
was made to do films like this, so definitely he was raised in the industry.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But like you say, Gareth tells Helen, you know, Brian is unhinged. He's still in this mental facility. And she ends up Amanda ends up just throwing Chris out because he's had enough, you know, of all this lacking around while she's on the phone talking to Helen. And yeah, you know, he's pretty much told to go. So he goes, and then you've got
she goes up to the mirror, she goes up to the mirror and stuff like that to put him back to bed, I think, or something like that's going on, and she's all posing and stuff, and that's what he's looking at. That's where you see this figure. Great thing through the camera lens, right through the trees and stuff like that. He's trying to see him, and then he goes up there and then starts choking him and stuff like that too, and then he beats him down. He doesn't kill him. You think he's killed him.
You do. You think he's killed
Yeah,
him.
you think he's killed him. Yeah.
It's all done with like POV, which is great. You know, again, it's kind of before most. I'm not saying it's the first POV film because it's not.
No, it's before Black Christmas. This is very, very eerily to Black Christmas. There's a scene where you see the person that did that from the back. He climbs the window. So that makes it a little bit interesting because considering when she goes back to the door and Chris is there and he just keels over, that's where you get introduced to Brian. You don't know that's him yet. He turns him around. It's like, oh my God, is he dead? And all this stuff too. He goes up to him and starts like massaging his chest. And she asked, what are you doing? I'm massaging his heart. And you're like, yeah, that's where Helen mentions that her husband tried to choke her and gas their son. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's when you'd know a little bit about him, but you don't know everything until later, where he shows you what he's about. This dude's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's a psychopath. There's obviously major issues, like the doctor said. Like I say, this is before Halloween, so you have the good doctor, looking after his patient and stuff like that too. I'm fast forwarding a little bit because he's like, because she gets worried again. He goes, I have to call and make sure, because he's safe in the asylum, basically. He's safe in my facility. There's no problem. Sure enough, he calls. Nope, he has to call. That's where he gets the news that and there's kind of British humor in here a little bit, specifically when he goes to the constable and he says you can't spell. He spelt whatever wrong. I forgot what he said. Psychotic. Yeah, he said you spelled psychotic wrong. The guy who plays the police chief, him and I think it's him and Honor Blackman were married, I believe. I think
this was their first film they did together. They did go on and do another film, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I could have done a little bit of the comedy cops again type thing, but
it kind of took forever and stuff like that because they didn't. And the doctor, and here's where I like it when they do this in films and stuff like that, because the doctor is kind of a pacifist type of approach to this, and stuff like that. He kind of warns them. He warns them, but he's very when he's doing the report, he's like, dude, this is an issue. You find out when he escaped, he took a bus and then he choked a girl.
Yeah.
Now you don't know if she died or not because they don't say that, but he said he choked her because that seems to be his thing. Really, it's like I say, it's all bad mental issues with this dude. It's like you just snap, something happens.
Exactly. And I mean, once they find out he's back on the loose, Helen and Jim, they head back to the house.
Try to.
Well, they try to. They get stuck along the way, in the middle of the woods, but they manage to get out of that just in time towards the end. But the doctor informs the police, like you said, about this escaped lunatic. But Brian, when he's obviously he gets into the house because of Chris, claiming to like help Chris, and like you say,
it's like he says he's a neighbor.
His heart stopped, and really panicking the fuck out.
He says, "I don't have a car. I don't drive. I don't have no need to drive anywhere," and stuff like that. She's crying, so he's all like petting her and all this other stuff too. Then he looks at her. Then he sees the vision of his wife. There's the connection. There's the connection. And he says her name. He says Helen.
He does. And she realizes this. And it's kind of a little bit of like Friday the 13th Part 2, where she goes along with it.
Yeah, right.
He's like, do you love me? Do you love me? And she's like, well, yeah, and she goes along in the Helen part.
Yeah, she goes along with it. This is before he kind of knows like a lot of things. Then he gets really like childlike, like real quick. And being very, like all this other stuff too, where, doesn't look like he's like, you don't love me, all this other stuff too. He kind of picks her up, almost like bear hugs her and starts dancing around with her and all this stuff too. That's where it gets kind of serious type of thing. All while the child is upstairs. And where he wants to go upstairs to see him. Yeah, and she's not saying, no, don't do it, because there's a great scene where she's there and he's like right in the middle of the steps, and that's a great camera angle where he's like talking. He's like, should I do it? Should I? He starts mumbling to himself. It's very creepy.
Because we think at this point, this stage, the kid is probably dead, don't we? That's why he doesn't want to go up there. And do you know
because he tried doing this before. He tried killing them.
Yeah. There's a scene as well in this with the clock as well, and he comes out, he hates the clock because it takes away your life and it ends up laughing at you, is one of his lines.
Yeah.
And again, it just all adds up, doesn't it? You've got this fucking mansion kind of run down. You've got this psychotic killer with a babysitter.
He talks a bit about the house too, where it's kind of like haunted for him a little bit. He's like, you can hear things here and all this other stuff too. It's a descent into madness. It's crazy.
It really is, and her only kind of getaway is the fact that he falls asleep at one point. She kind of plans to get
That's
out.
After they like lay down, and there's a scene which is great, and it harkens to a film by Roman Polanski called Repulsion, which I highly suggest everybody watch. Where he's going, he starts kissing her and all this other stuff too, and she's terrified. Man, you're feeling for her badly. She does a great job here, and
that's what I was going to ask you, because that's kind of ambiguous scene.
Yes.
Do you think he actually raped her, or do you think it didn't get that far?
I don't think it got that far, because she starts screaming. She starts screaming, and I think he stops because of that. But you see him like asleep afterwards and stuff like that. But you see that her blouse isn't like totally gone.
Yeah, but that's what makes you think that he possibly did rape her, because he falls asleep, and what the most men do after sex.
Yeah,
sleep,
that's true. It's almost like a film noir type of a thing that they used to do back in the 40s.
But that's and the fact that she's this virgin as well at the start of the film.
Yeah.
And come towards the end, she's like the main fucking, she does the dirty deed of killing this guy eventually.
Yeah.
And maybe
great scene in that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? In these slashes to come, you've got the virgin type character who ends up being the killer at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This is, like I say, in terms of suspense all the way through, it's never boring, I will say, with this.
No, not at all.
Do you know what I mean? There's always something going on. You've got the big standoff at the end, He's literally got her hostage with the young boy. the police turn up.
That's the one thing it went a bit long. The doctor tells him like let me talk to him. I can soothe this situation and stuff like that. She says, like, why don't you go out and see your wife? Dogs him. You're a coward. You don't want to do it, and all this other stuff too. He gets pissed. He picks up like a chair or something like that, throws it out the window. Then he goes like fully sadistic. He goes, it's like, you bring in my wife. You bring in Amanda, or not Amanda. You bring in Helen. Bring me my wife, or the boy dies and she dies. Like, he literally says that. He puts up, that's the scene. That's the scene right here where you don't see the kid, but the kid, she does pick up and stuff like that. She has the child, and he puts the shard of glass up to next to both of them.
That's an iconic
both
scene
of them.
well.
He says, I'll kill you both, and all this other stuff too.
I mean, and while this is going on, just before this is going on, Chris kind of comes back to life. I know we think he's dead, but he's not.
Yeah, because it's like over a sheet, but then he kind of pulls it down. Like, that's a great scene where there's a she basically the wife caves in, and the doctor suggests don't do it. Don't do it. That constable gives her a gas bomb or whatever it is, an old school one. And
it's tear gas,
tear gas. And he says, bring this in here, then you automatically use it and stuff like that too. Okay. You automatically do it. You automatically drop it, and she's hesitant, but she goes, I have to do it, goes in there, all this other stuff too. But like I say, that one scene where, he's getting ready, looks like to have sex with her too. It harkens back and forth between her and his wife. I like that aspect, right? Where she's happy and all this stuff too. Yeah, of course. So that's what he sees. He doesn't see the fear. He doesn't see that. He sees the joy. He sees the happiness. There's where the delusion comes from, and goes in there, and it's so good where, he comes in and all this other stuff too, and she goes, hi, I'm here, and all this other stuff too. And that's where you see that she dropped, because he closes the door. Yeah, so he broke his promise there. He says, you bring her in, then I'll bring the other two out. No, because there is a scene when the police do show up. She has the kid, and she goes out there, and he straight up grabs them both. I'm like, dude, I thought that's where it was going to end. There's some stuff that drags on a bit, but that's where he grabs them, and you have this great standoff that comes to that dramatic conclusion, to your point.
Yeah, and the great scene then, where she drops the canister, the tear gas, and then he realizes, you're gonna hurt me, you're right to hurt me, and all this.
Yeah.
You've got a great scene there where he just tries to choke his wife again, tries to kill his wife.
That's where she goes up behind him with the glass and goes like that. That's done very well.
And she slits all his face, doesn't she?
Just like from the lip, like here. I think she originally wanted to go for the throat, but I like that they kind of changed that a bit, meaning she didn't know where to aim, basically, so to speak. And she goes up like that. He just tosses her to the side. That's when they both kind of come out in all the gas. And he has the child with the knife up there, with the blade up there, the glass shard. Yeah.
And that, like I mentioned earlier, could possibly really damage that young actor's kind of
that's what they said. It's like there's a lot of stuff. It's like he's in the film, and this, has the shard of glass or this knife like up to his throat. And he goes, I'll kill him and all this stuff too. And it's a great scene between him and Helen and their child. There's the family and stuff like that, because she comes out from like the other side, or kind of like where the ivy is at, and goes, it's okay, no one's going to hurt you. It's like, just give me our son. Just give me our son. And you have that just dramatic scene where, she takes him and then slowly starts to back up. That's where he realizes basically he's done. He realizes that he goes to one knee, and it just lingers on for a while. And that's where you hear the bang.
And that's, and I'll tell you why I think I'll tell you why I think he raped her, right? It's because I know she's trying to get retribution for Chris, her boyfriend, but I don't think she would have like shot him through the forehead if he hadn't have raped her. That's my own personal opinion, you know. I know people are like 50-50 on whether that did happen.
Yeah,
But that kind of makes more sense with the fact that she killed him the way she does at the end.
it's crazy.
But it is a great kind of
That's a
last
great
sequence.
ending
I
scene, man.
understand
You
what
feel
you're
so
saying, though.
sorry. She's like crying. She
Yeah,
says, "I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I do
I'm
understand
sorry."
what you're saying about it. It does seem a little bit over the top at times towards the end, and it goes on a little bit too much. But then you've got like the end credits then where she's crying, and you can hear that ladybird sing, like, so you've got
Yeah, as
kind of
she's
what happens
crying,
with
that
that,
singer
you
that
know.
sung that, she like literally got emotional, and it just adds to it because it's the song at the beginning and then it's the song at the end, and you see the difference. Like I say, she goes through everything with the boyfriend and all the stuff that happened to her, and she goes, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." That's an iconic scene with her holding that weapon. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here that of course you can't help but not like you say, when she turns on the faucets in the house, you know, that's that old school thing. You hear the water. I hear that sometimes in my apartments and stuff when they turn on the sprinklers. That'll go through the pipe, so you hear the pipe shaking. So it'll be like
Yeah, yeah.
like that, then it'll stop, you know, and you know, it just goes on after that. You know, cranks on the steps and all this stuff
Yeah,
too.
yeah, like
You know,
George C. Scott in The Changeling, you
yeah,
know.
just stuff like that.
This film was actually the original working titles to this was The Baby Minder and Girl in the Dark, which
Girl
was
in the
kind of,
Dark works. Girl in
yeah,
the
I
Dark
think
works.
so.
Not
Kind of,
Night Legs is just very interesting. That, like I say, IMDb had stuff that they called it in different countries. That was one of them. I'm like, oh hell yeah! Of course. Also, I Am Alone and I'm Scared. That
I
sounds like
like
a
that one,
giallo.
yeah.
That sounds like an Italian film, straight up. I am
I'm
alone and I
pretty
am
sure they
scared.
did posters with that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen posters with
yeah,
that.
definitely.
I think they went with the right one as Fright. Um, it was released on the 15th of October 1971. The budget was
Perfect timing.
100. Yeah, yeah. 127,000 budget. Which is like really cheap if you think about the actors they
Yeah,
got in
because it
this as
grossed in
well.
U.S. and Canada. That's what, of course, IMDb said at the time. It was 169,246. So, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it kind of got up there. Was this a video nasty, Darren? Did they put that on the list or no?
Don't think so. I think this was actually a PG at one point.
Yeah,
what I
it's
can gather.
very. There's no. You see blood and stuff like that, but you don't see no, like you say, death wise. It's just it gets very intense.
It either was a PG at one point or was going to be a PG. I was reading.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's all, a lot of it is all suggested, really, isn't it? Roger Ebert like reviewed the film, and he
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
called it a passably good thriller, which is kind of high praise for him with a horror film, really.
Right. With the other one we're going to discuss, he put that in the category of what is it, Girls in Panic or something like that. I forget.
In Danger. Women in
Yeah,
Danger.
Women in Danger, which is that's a good term for it, to tell you the truth. So, but yeah, that was of course I'm talking about when A Stranger Calls was mentioned in that. But Fright, yeah, it's different and it's refreshing, to tell you the truth. You know, it's very cool diving back into these films of during this decade specifically. This is a lot of people's favorite decades for horror, is the 70s, because that's where you get these maverick directors. Let's try a little bit something different here. You know, we're
100%.
We're post Vietnam. People want this. It's a powder keg. Let's give them a powder keg. Let's light the fuse and see what happens here.
And this is old school, where they literally do. The suspense puts you on the edge of your seat. You know, it's
the one dude that has like the pistol and trying to aim it is quite interesting. He's kind of funny, right? Because he's a silent one. It's like, I can't get a clear shot and all this stuff too. The doctor's like, it's a bad idea.
Like
it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, going, whatever. It's like, you know. So yeah,
I mean, this is perfect. One like night. Now we're coming into the fall as well, up towards Halloween. This is perfect to put on.
Definitely
like,
for spooky seasons. Yeah.
I mean, it's got everything you want, really, in like, you know, a scary type, you know. And do you know what I mean? This I highly rate this. I don't know how you're gonna like rate it 8 to 10, but for me, it's pretty much like an 8.5. I don't know how
We're
you feel.
we're kind of closer than you think. I give it a 7.5 out of 10, a very strong 7.5 out of 10. I wanted to rank this higher. It's just towards the ending and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that kind of dragged on too long for me, like the whole
Okay,
standoff
yeah,
at the house. I thought maybe that went a little bit too on, but for all extensive purposes, without this, we don't get Black Christmas. That we don't. The whole atmosphere screams Black Christmas with the house and her just walking in that wooded area. And this is in nowhere. Like I said, it's like,
yeah.
it's a great UK horror film, and great actors and actresses. To your point, Darren, you were raised with a lot of these, and it just goes to show you, like I say, over here, kids from TV film or TV shows, comedies and stuff like that, like stuff from Silver Spoons and other stuff like that over here, doing these horror films, where they grow up. So you literally grow up with these. It's like, oh, look, we're teenagers. Now we're young adults. Uh-oh, welcome to the real world. And that's kind of what it shows. So,
Yeah, I
this,
think
this
the
is
people.
a high rec. This is a high rec.
It is, yeah. The people who would argue and say, look, I don't think this inspired Black Christmas. All I will say is go back to that one scene where you see the killer climbing the roof outside, and that's pretty much a carbon copy of the killer at the start.
You
of
see the
Black
shadow
Christmas.
of the dude, Billy, with this thing up like this with the knife
when
up.
he's
It's
when he's
insane.
crawling up the side of the house at the start. It's
Yes.
a shot, almost shot for shot, like of this film.
That's
So
a
I
very
think,
good shot too, and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah,
because he doesn't go through the window, he goes through the door, and I'm
right.
like,
Yeah.
okay, so stuff like that. But yeah,
I think
it's
Bob
very
Clark
good.
would have to have seen this. There's no doubt Bob Clark probably seen this. And like, Black Christmas is completely film on its own. It's like high fucking 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, but I guess all these classics, in some way, most of them anyway, have got some kind of influence. And yeah, this
I did
was
think
for
this
sure.
was funny too, because you have the fox head and stuff like that. She runs into one of these. I think it's this one here.
Yeah. You can see how beautiful, like Susan George.
Yeah, she has
is, man.
hazel eyes like I do. That's insane.
Absolutely stunning actress. And she looked good right up until fairly recently, from what I've seen of her. For an older woman,
Yeah.
must have good genes or something.
Yeah.
But this would be a good double bill with Straw Dogs as well, actually, if you think
Yeah.
about it. It would go perfectly, I think. There's Honor Blackman there. There's Richard Bannon.
But there you go, kind of like there where he gets kind of cut
Ian,
and then like up here.
Yeah.
And you see kind of the whatever. Yeah, that's a great shot. Yeah, that's where he goes through the window.
Is Ian Bannon on that shot I can see there, yeah?
Yeah.
I thought it looked like a different guy, but maybe it was me on my screen.
But yeah, just that point of view and stuff like that.
Man.
And there he is. Yeah, that's her husband right there.
That's my only gripe with the film, really, is the coppers, the police, like useless, completely useless. But
yeah, this is the scene I'm getting to, right? She has that right behind her and stuff like that, where he's just like in there, like in his nice turtleneck and stuff like that too.
Wouldn't she have had that concealed in her, like on her some way, rather than behind the back? I think that was kind of, they dropped the ball a little bit there as well.
Yeah, I have to go through the scene and stuff like that as well. So
these are like minor. I'm only talking minor little things, nothing to like.
His director's son, but yeah, this is where, and Mr. Newman makes kind of fun of this a little bit, considering what they're drinking and what they're eating here. And he's like, "Yeah, sure, it's like a cocktail bar." Yeah,
they
there's
have that little weird dance, don't they? They're dancing at the bar.
Yeah. Look at those old school phones.
She's a very attractive woman, mine. Honor Blackman, right up and into her 70s. She looked pretty much not much difference to what she looked there, to be honest.
Yeah,
she went on to become
basically
a huge
right there.
star, huge star in the UK.
It's when they crash. Yeah, just the whole certain scenes. That's interesting with her there. That's the first time I kind of see that because he talks to her about something. I just don't notice that until you see these stills here.
Yeah, she makes him like a cup of tea or something, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where
And
he's
the
all
look of the
comforting her.
house as well. The look of that house is very Black Christmas like you said.
Yeah. Old school 70s. Like, yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Look at that. That's where they leave, right? And all these like kids and stuff show up, dude, all trying to go in there and stuff like that. And they're just trying to get the hell out. I think he's like right here.
Yeah, it's like a traditional British pub. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See how close she is to that? I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
now I realized what that is. Yeah, that's like a fox head. That's just creepy. Yeah, she just does a.
I hope like people that watch this stream, if they're not watching live and watch this later on, kind of gives them the inspiration to check this film out because
Oh, absolutely. This is the scene I'm talking about. He's right through the steps or through something like that. Look at that. That's a great camera shot. She's there. He's here because she's thinking about leaving and stuff like that too. See all the antlers there and stuff like that too. This place is a death trap. It's crazy. It's like
we didn't mention the scene at the end as well, where you see his face and you see the house. It's the final shot of the film as well, which is great.
Yes. Yeah, when they're all just talking and stuff like that too. Yeah, they have like brandy.
The white cardigan from the 70s on.
Yeah, the sweaters. Excuse me, I said
this is the scenes I like most from the film is when she's on her own in the house and she's putting the kettle on, making tea, and all the spooky shit starting to go on. I think that's where it comes into its own, like this film. You can see, I completely agree with you towards the end. You can see how it does go on a little bit and gets a little bit over the top. But
Death and Tail Films, all rights reserved. So yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, there's the shot. That's iconic right there.
In the end, yeah. Typical kind of final girl.
Yeah. Oh, and there it is. See that? Spot. You can see his face in there. I remember this scene. You could see his face in the reflection. That makes it work even better.
An amazing shot, I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can see his face.
Yeah, that's where he says, "Get me a pillow" and all this other stuff, too. Yeah, she's...
Yeah,
director and like a lot of the stuff there. Yeah, the lobby cards and what have you. That's really good. Yeah, some of the other names that you can't spell.
Weirdly enough, yeah,
that's a nice poster.
Yeah, I think I've got the I'm pretty sure I have got the Mexican lobby card for this. Nice. I bought it off Justin off Hysteria Lives.
Nice. Costa por Penco, wherever. There's that one.
I completely forgot I had it actually until that image just popped up, and I'm like, yeah, I've got the Mexican lobby card.
That's the Britain one.
I'd love to have got the poster though. Yeah, I would love to have got that. That looks like
could be you, baby. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice shot. Yeah, that's a nice poster.
Black Christmas with the eye, see.
Yeah, the screen has a new definition of terror.
That's definitely the image I like.
She has her hair back. She has her hair back in this one. It looks like it almost looks like she has short hair in that.
Yeah. That's the poster.
I am alone and I am scared. That looks totally different.
It looks like a Giallo, doesn't it? Or definitely.
And the killer is in the house. Wow.
It looks like He Knows You're Alone style film.
Yeah. Yeah, with the eyes and stuff like that. Dude looks like a psychopath, which is kind of true. It looks very Giallo-like.
Yeah, I've come across that poster on eBay and I didn't fucking pull the trigger. I'm kind of kicking myself now, but.
Oh, that's a good one.
There's quite a lot of releases with this, like VHS and. Yeah, I've not seen that cover actually before. There's a few.
That's an interesting one right there. It's not the actual house. Well, maybe it is. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I can't. Almost there, folks. Oh, looks like she's in the window, and yeah, he has like a billy club or something like that in the top of that one. That's a nice one. I like that VHS. Oh, that's very good.
I fucking love that cover, man. That's a great, yeah.
There we go. Just shows the back of it. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's Fright. Let me know in the comments and stuff like that if you've seen this film or not, and what you
Definitely check this one out, man.
what you think about it. It's definitely a good one. I highly recommend it.
I see Dan Chimes in the chat. How's it going?
Oh, very
Dan?
good. What's up, Big Dan? Sorry about that. I'm just bringing up something else here. I hope you're doing good. I watched some of his stream they did with when super producer Pod there yesterday.
Yeah, they did a few films yesterday. Go over and check Dan's streams out, man.
Oh, please. Fleshwound Features. Those guys are badass. And the Dead End Drive-In, of course, where him, Dirk, and Darren and Lauren every once in a while does some great stuff over there. And yeah, you'll have some stuff coming up there soon. That's for sure. So
I'm sure, like, as Halloween season approaches, with me, Dan, and Dirk will get together with Lauren and we'll sort out a few more.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a while, man.
Yes, Run was the cheapest movie I've ever seen on big screen. Yeah, I'm sure. It's great to see you in here, Dan. Dan's coolest dude in the world. Trust me. Check him out if you haven't yet.
I think Dan. I think he's the most knowledgeable guy I've ever come across in terms of film.
Oh yeah, that's why I've gotten into you guys, because you've all seen what I haven't seen, you know, and I'm just getting into this stuff too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan, yeah, you're heading into my neck of the woods there, Big Dan. I live in Livermore, California, so LA's about 6 hours. Yeah, 6 hours. Farthest I've gone in my car is to Irvine. That's a long drive. So you go through Los Angeles, then you go straight. Irvine's quite pretty. Then you go straight through. I've been to Hollywood and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'd be more than happy to, Dan. Thank you. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I'm always honored to go on these other streams, just having fun, talking horror and all that other good freaky stuff, you know, and wrestling, of course, hardcore wrestling, death matches. I'm all for that when there's horror involved. And what's going on? We have a guy here from Caveman Movies and more. Very good.
Hey, what's up, guy? I hope you're well, man.
Thank you, Guy. I really appreciate that. Like I say, just do this for fun. I don't do this for likes or subs anymore. I don't care. You like what you like, dude. Buy what you like. You know, I think there's too much hate in the world. I'm just going to say that real quick. All the people hate on Scream Factory, so what? Who cares? You got Imprint out there. You have these other studios, ones that you've mentioned a lot too, Darren, and stuff like that, Vision, stuff like that too. Just pick those up, man. Have fun with it. That's all that matters. So... very good. So we'll start up. So yeah, I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10. What did you give it one more time, Darren?
8 towards 8.5. 8
Yeah.
to 10. And I mean, this takes me back a little bit anyway, because I'm kind of nostalgic for these type of films. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why I'd probably give it a little bit extra than Chris. But yeah,
you're watchable. So next one up here in this Babysitters in Peril is probably the ultimate Babysitter in Peril film. That, of course, is When a Stranger Calls from 1979. It was released in 1978, which is interesting. We'll talk about the gap at the start of this film, towards the ending of this film as well. Directed by Fred Walton, who also did, I forgot, April Fool's Day. So the same director did that film, and that's an awesome picture right there. It's very good.
Yeah.
Me and my retro bare bones Blu-ray slip here from Mill Creek.
I mean, honestly, that's all. At one time, that's all you could get with this was a bare bones release. It's only, second sight to make.
Mill Creek did a good job with this. This is a good release and stuff like that. Was it Touchstone Pictures that released this? So initially, because they're not in the credits. There's a studio that's not in the credits.
This come out on the first time this came out on Blu-ray was on a double feature with Happy Birthday to Me in America, because I remember importing it because that's the only way you could get it. Yeah. And then this is fairly recent release. I say recent within the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5.
Yeah, because that comes with A Stranger Calls Back, right? Or When a Stranger Calls Back.
Yeah. My only gripe about that is they're all on just one disc, and you get the same track as well as the other one.
Oh yeah, it's a legendary soundtrack, considering when you hear DTS at the start, the DTS, for the movie theaters, when you hear that sound, they had to have gotten this from When a Stranger Calls, because there's a scene where Carol Kane's character is in the dark in her house, and it goes like that. It goes like that. It does that, and I'm like, I saw that. So this is directed by Fred Walton. Again, he did quite a few films, but he did have April Fool's Day. That's very impressive. I really like that.
I love April Fool's Day. A lot of people say
Barbara Steele
killed the slasher film.
But Amy Steele. Yeah, Amy Steele. Ron Steele. Writer is Steve Feeke. Stars excuse me, I'm spitting here. Stars Carol Kane as Jill Johnson. She and Charles Durning also during this time did The Muppets Take Manhattan, I believe, the same time. So it was around the same year. So how about those two being into totally different film? We have 3 Academy Award nominations in here, Charles Durning being one of them. I think Carol Kane was another. You have Charles Durning here as a detective, later private investigator, John Clifford. You have Carmen Argenzano as Dr. Mandrakis. You have Tony Beckley as Kurt Duncan, the late Tony Beckley, because he was really sick during the filming of this. He died, right after filming was done with, I think, or shooting and stuff like that. The director defended that a bit like that, said he wanted to do it. He just, he wanted to do that. He wanted to, put him in there and stuff like that as well. So that was very good for that.
I think the fact that he was seriously ill, and you can clearly see that it works for the film. For me, I think it makes the film.
Yes, it does. It adds to it to me. Ron O'Neal as Lieutenant Charlie Garber. Colleen Dewhurst as Tracy, another Academy Award nominee. Great actress.
Do you know the thing
she did
about
a
her?
lot of things.
Yeah, do you know the thing about her, which I was surprised? So I was looking at Colleen Dewhurst. She was in The Dead Zone, but she was in The Exorcist 3 as Pazuzu's voice. And I'm like, shit. And when you go back and listen to her voice, you can fucking clearly tell. Yeah. Because, do you know the original Exorcist? There was, I think, the old lady that done the voice of the Pazuzu.
Did Pazuzu. Yeah, Reagan's character.
Cambridge was the name, the old lady.
Okay.
But you can clearly tell this Colleen Dewhurst has got this really gruff kind of voice when she's in the bar and wasn't under the scenes. So yeah, that blew my mind when I realized she played Pazuzu in Exorcist 3. Which
there's at the beginning of this film, there's a phone number used. So the phone number is 555-2368. Now, why do I mention that? Because this number has been used quite a few times in films. It was used in the Amityville Horror from 1979 as well. So that number was used. That phone number was used. It was also used in another film called Forever Young as well. So I always thought that's very interesting. Those are good red herrings right there. If you don't know, you know, type of situations. So the budget was $1.5 million for this. Yeah, that doubled that. More than that, $21 million worldwide. It's insane.
It really did go well.
So this is a template like Fright. This is a template for basically. Of course, the director did a short film called The Sitter, which this film is the full extended version of that. The director was getting on the success of Halloween. He wanted to get on that train like a lot of directors would do. Of course, this same director would later do films like When a Stranger Calls Back, and dedicated to Tony Beckley. That was done in '93, When a Stranger Calls Back, and they dedicated that to him. I've never seen it either. I actually heard it's quite good.
I have, yeah. But yeah, Fred Walton, I know you mentioned him earlier, but I just want to mention he did an underrated one in the late 80s called Trapped. It's kind of like a slasher. He did I Saw What You Did, the remake in 1988. But The Sitter, like you say, that it was what they did with The Sitter, the short film, was they shopped it around all these different places and to try and get money, people to put money behind the film. And it literally is the opening 25 minutes of this film is an extended scene from Black Christmas. I think it's fair to say that,
very fair to say that. It's definitely extended.
Though I do love this, it does kind of not be original in places, but don't let that put you off. It adds, I think, to the
This has a great score to it. The score is one of the best scores you'll ever hear in a horror film. It goes on cue about when the dread really starts. Basically, yeah, Carol Kane starts out, as Jill Johnson. That sounds like a Marvel character, to tell you the truth. She's babysitting this doctor and his wife. Their 2 children. I think the son is 3. I think it is. No, I think the daughter's like 4 years old and the son is 3.
4 and 3, yeah.
Ask her over to just do that and stuff like that. If they do the same thing, they write the number down. You have any issues, just call us and stuff like that. Should be home. You should be fine. All this other stuff too. She starts doing her studying and stuff like that as well. She's talking to one of her friends on the phone about a boy they both like and all this stuff too. So it's very Halloween-esque in that aspect. Then she hangs up. They both finish talking. Then the phone rings again, and that's where you hear the iconic line, "Have you checked on the children?"
Yeah, the opening 25 minutes to this is superb, man. Very atmospheric, just creepy throughout.
Carol mentioned in the theater and stuff, when she saw the premiere in the theater, people were yelling at the screen. I can see why. There's a lot of stuff her character does that I would automatically do. You realize why she doesn't do it, but dude, it's a creeping dread throughout these sequences.
Oh yeah, I mean Carol Kane as well. She's
great actress.
Great actress, absolutely fantastic. She's a weird one for me because she's got a very kind of strange look about her, but she's attractive with it as well.
She does. At that part, because the film takes place in 1971, and then it goes to 7 years later, which is interesting. Considering there's some stuff when she eventually calls the police and say he's still calling. They can do a trace. They say can keep him online for a minute. That's not true. During that time, if this is in 1971, it'd take about 20 minutes to trace that call. Little itty bitty stuff. You don't notice it, of course, if you want to be a snob about it, but I always thought that kind of funny since, they do the continuity of it all and stuff like that. I thought that kind of funny when you look into the info.
Do you know what we were saying about you don't get this film without Black Christmas and Halloween?
Yeah.
But I think, right, and see what you think on this one. I don't think you get Scream without.
No, you don't. No, because Brian Williamson states at the start of the first Scream with Drew Barrymore. That's straight up when the stranger calls. Yeah.
From this.
Do you like scary movies? You remember this one and stuff like that too. Yeah. The babysitter.
Oh yeah. And she's getting stalked on the phone, early on. And I think the policeman tells her, is there a whistle in the house? And if the guy comes on.
She looks out the window, said, "Do you look out the windows?" All this other stuff as well. Yeah, I don't see anybody. He mentions there's been some frank calls that evening, what have you, but you don't know what's going on until it actually happens.
But he comes out with a line, doesn't he, the killer, and it's safe to say, we can call him the killer, but he rings her back up and he says he can see her, she says to him, can you see me? And
the lights are off. She mentions the lights are off and stuff like that. She asks him, you want me to turn them on?
And he says, I want your blood all over me. And that's where things start to get fucking serious.
Yeah, because you get flashbacks to that later on in the film.
Oh, yeah. And you get the great shot as well where Jill, she actually sees the intruder in the shadows as she escapes. That's
right. He sees him on the staircase opening the door because he says, "I'm with the children." And it's a great scene where she goes up there. She starts to gradually go up there. Mm-hmm. And then she sees the door start to open a bit because she sees the shadow. That's where she opens the door, but the latch is still on. That's an old school latch. I remember those. Yeah, those are very, very nifty like that and stuff like that. Opens the door. You see him start to come down a bit like that. That's where you see Charles Durning's, the detective's detective's face, and yeah, Mr. Charlie, is it sorry for that, chat. Give me a second here. Yeah, it's John Clifford, and he sees John's face, and that's a still, but that's where, and then it just goes to where everyone's left, and you found out what happened to the children, and you see the them taken out in little body bags. The officers are all holding them like that, taking them out like that. I'm like, dang. So
this is at the point where a lot of people were really pissed off, because from now on in, it becomes a character study of the killer. You know, Kurt Duncan. Pretty much his backstory is has escaped.
He's English, so he's from England.
Merchant seaman. Tony Beckley is superb in this role, as we've mentioned. And like you say, after his trial, he's sent to a psychiatric mental home as well. You know, it's very similar to Fright.
Yeah, it goes to 7 years later. Find out he was, because he got. They said he was legally insane. They put him in a mental institution. They figured out he's escaped, but because the good doctor calls him and asks him, because he's a private detective now, and asks him, so I want you to find him. Can you find him? Says he could be anywhere. It's like, no, he wouldn't go anywhere. He needs to go to places that are familiar. He later states to Tracy that, when he's showing the pictures around of him, of like he killed these couple's son and daughter. The daughter was 4 and the son was 3. The coroner couldn't reconstruct them because they're mutilated so badly. The killer didn't use any weapon. He used his hands. So think about that. So good to put fear into somebody, because he meets her in a bar, and I love his character. I have to admit, Tony Beckley was a very good actor, obviously, and he plays that to a T, just in the bar. And very persistent, right? Tries to buy Tracy a drink. She's no, get the fuck away from me. Like, and all this other stuff too. And he won't he just gets her a drink, nope, and stuff like that. And he just takes it, man. He just takes it. And the psychiatrist, the doctor, and the private investigator gets on her ass and stuff like that. They use shock treatment on a lot of stuff that's not used anymore. A lot of stuff that's not used anymore. Yeah, 28 times. 28 times.
John Clifford, he goes to see, the psychiatric mental hospital, and they play him back a tape of Kurt Duncan when he was like losing it.
That's when he first got in there, because he won't eat it and stuff like that. He's like, don't touch me.
Yeah. So he was the original cop on the case as well, and now he's like a PI, a private investigator. But yeah, like you say, that scene at the bar is kind of brutal. He buys her a drink.
He gets his ass whipped.
She's kind of like, just kind of politely in a way, just stay away from me type thing. And that pool player in the background, he comes into action.
He has enough of his shit. Yeah, beats the piss out of him. Yeah, beats the piss out of him.
And he drags him out, doesn't he? And she becomes. So later on, then he kind of tracks this Tracy down, follows her, and she becomes kind of sympathetic towards him. She said, "I didn't really mean for that to happen at the bar. You getting beaten up."
That became interesting because there's a scene where he ends up getting. There's a scene where he ends up getting in her place, and going into the closet, and there's. I'm thinking, wait a minute. So he couldn't have gone through the front door. So. You went on the balcony area. So, I mean, that's another thing that you're like, I can kind of see that. That would take some effort, but considering that, but yeah, back to the scene with the psychiatrist, when she basically, all the information's right there. And Darren was a great actor. He could play that part really good. And he closes the door. Look, lady, you need to tell me all this stuff too. I can't go by this. And she goes, it's all right there. She says they used because he looks up at her, says, you gave him shock treatment 28 times, all these drugs and stuff like that. So what happens when he's off of them? Says he'll start to deteriorate. So that's your one huge red flag right there, because that's what you don't want. Because like I say, with any drug, you stop using it, stuff will start to deteriorate. Brain function, all that stuff. And gradually through the film, he starts to go back to his original self because he's not on his meds. He starts at the very end, towards the end, he starts saying, no one's going to touch me. I'm not alive. I'm not really here. Stuff like that, which is a great scene. It pans out and there's all blackness around him where it's just him. He's like, I'm nobody, right? I don't exist type stuff like that.
That's
really
great,
good.
Great dialogue, yeah. So he's sleeping rough in the city as well at this point.
Yeah, he's homeless.
He's pretty much having to like stop at these DOS houses, where they put up these people just for the night. And he's obviously a highly dangerous man, But yeah, you've got the scene with Tracy as well. She kind of gets distracted on the phone and he works his way into her apartment. She's kind of a little bit sympathetic towards him, but still creeped out at the same time.
Because it's her boyfriend that's calling, I guess, like that.
Yeah. She says to him, my boyfriend's coming back, so you need to leave now. But yeah,
maybe we can have a coffee sometime and that press him, like, really? And stuff like that. She's like, maybe.
He leaves because she says, yeah, maybe tomorrow. And he's like, well, that, and she said, I said, maybe, not, for definite.
Yeah, just possibly.
But yeah, and you got this Clifford then, he tells the Lieutenant Garber that he intends to kill
he goes to a party where he's like drunker than a skunk and stuff like that too. They originally had issues on set. Darren mentioned that he was just there for a paycheck. He said he kept an eye, and the actor, Ron O'Neal made fun of it later, where he's like going, he always had his eye on me and stuff like that while we're doing the scene, just to make sure I didn't skip my lines, because they're all friendly afterwards, of course, like that. But Darren famously said, I guess, he's just like here for a paycheck, man. He's like not really ad-libbing anything, he's just going on with that. So you can see that in some scenes. It's kind of funny where he's like holding him because he's drunk and stuff like that. Says, I need to talk to you privately. That's his wife that's in that scene too, an actual party. That's his O'Neal's actual wife in there. I think they go past. He's like, oh, hey, what's going on? That's where he tells them the situation of what happened there. And why
he wants to kill him with like these, I've never heard of this before, but they're like lock needles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he says this time I want, I'm gonna do it. I'm
gonna kill him. He asked him that too. He says, I'm gonna do this alone. He's like, oh, I'm gonna kill him. He's like, for what he did, he deserves to die. And it's like, you kind of hear that, and I'm like going, yeah, it's really gritty. You can't do that now. So
all right, and so he gets hold of Tracy and she returns, and all this time Duncan is still kind of still stalking Tracy at this point. But what they try to do is he has a word with Clifford, and he tells Tracy, can she become some kind of decoy or bait to try and lure him into this pub or into this bar, where they originally met. She agrees to it, but he fails to show. But all the time he's just watching across the road.
Yeah.
Very kind of creepy. And that's where you get the point where she leaves the bar, goes home, and like you said earlier, he's hiding in the closet, and it's so fucking...
Because he says, you have any issue, it's like, I'll be right out here and stuff like that as well, because he was watching her outside all that time. And
it's the build up to that scene as well, where we know he's clearly in the apartment, in the closet.
Because he slowly opens up the closet door after she goes into like the kitchen or something like that too. Then he comes out of nowhere and puts his hand over her mouth and goes up there and stuff like that, and just goes like shh, like that and stuff like that. And I think he says like, do you like me or something like that.
Yeah. He's that's another kind of link to Black Christmas as well, when he's in the closet. I know, in Black Christmas, you've got that great shot of, you see the eye, don't you?
Yeah. From
behind the closet or the door or what have you. You've got the whole thing with the homeless man as well. He meets up with this homeless man, and Duncan, Clifford is trying to get hold of him. So he realizes this homeless man has already met Duncan, and he says to him, if you can get him to a certain place at a certain time, I'll give you money. And that doesn't quite work,
Yeah. He gives him, he meets him in the park, and he says, yeah, you can just keep the liquor that I gave you. And yeah, at the start of the film too, got to give to Carol Kane, they had an old school bottle of Jameson. I'm like, oh, is that Jameson? Yeah, that's Jameson Irish whiskey that she's drinking there real quick to calm herself down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And all the time as well, Duncan keeps having these flashbacks to the murders of the two kids from earlier, 7 years ago. He ends up staying at this mission, but Clifford tracks him down. And I think you said before we come on air, there's a great chase sequence.
Yeah, there's that scene where, basically the dude recognizes him and stuff like that, says, yeah, come with me, man, and get you some money and stuff like that too. And he goes in there. You see him in the bathroom stalls and stuff like that. And it's a scene straight out of which would later be used in films like The Stepfather, where he's in the mirror after he probably took a shower or something like that too. And he just, he touches it and stuff. That's where he gets the visions of, and you see the bloody scene in the child's bedroom. Right. Where he has the phone, which he later connected. They later stated it was one of the children's phones that was disconnected there, and he found it and he reconnected it. So there's your reason why he was able to call from within the house. And it shows him there, shows him with the sheets gradually going off. And now they did good here. You don't see anything. It's really black in that room, and you just see him covered in blood and all this stuff. You're like, dang. Yeah. And then he just crumples up in a ball. And you can say, he's starting to slowly but surely. He's like, oh, shit, because he can't get it out of his head.
Yeah, you can see how painfully thin he is as well when he's naked in this ball. And that's where you get him, saying the line, no one can see me anymore. I'm not here. I don't exist. I was never born. And it's kind of eerie, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where he goes. During finds him in those stalls, like I say, in this homeless shelter. Just goes through there.
Chucking that fucking needle at him, doesn't he? And
he does. He tries to find him and says, "Duncan, it's okay. It's it's okay, Kurt. I'm going to take you home. Take you home. Everything's okay and stuff like that." He comes out. He tries to really, and then it just he stops, and that's when he chucks it at him and stuff like that, and it misses him, and then he just goes, it's like an ice pick or something like that.
It's like a needle. This because he's out to kill him for sure. See, I like Vic. Is it Victim?
Victim. Very cool name, my friend. Welcome, by the way.
Yeah, welcome. I see a lot of people got the same views as well. They kind of like the start, and they don't really like the character study, which I do. But,
I like the character study type stuff personally. To me, like I said, it was during that time where it was kind of more about that in the 70s from the killer's point of view and stuff going through that. It does drag a little bit. That chase scene, to your point, where he's going through over tables and stuff. He goes through this restaurant looking place because it's through the shelter, I think.
I think it's the mission.
Because it's a big place because there's stairs going down because this was done in Los Angeles. So I'm trying to think. It didn't seem like Los Angeles. There's grimy parts of it, but it seemed more like New York because he says he's from New York because she asks where he's from. Tracy asks where he's from, and he says New York. And I'm like,
and obviously he's got the English accent as well because she knows he's not from New York. But funny enough, you said that when they're going and he falls down the steps and all that, that completely reminded me of the look of Maniac, New York in Maniac.
Yeah.
And it does. But the whole film takes a complete 180 where
when he falls down those steps too, when he's trying to run from him and stuff like that, because he does the smart thing, he all slams on the doors. He's like, hey, and poor Gurney's character is just trying to run after him. He's a big dude to begin with. I'm like, oh no, boy.
You can clearly see it's a stunt man who falls down the steps, but he does do his own stunt after it where he's holding on to the steps.
Right, he holds on to that.
You've got to realize the guy is terminally ill at this point. So, he was a trooper for this film.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say the whole film takes a complete 180, and then we get back to Jill's character. She's now married with 2 kids of her own. Her husband, Stephen, tells her, they're going out.
He got promoted at his job as well. She gets her, the babysitter mentioned.
Sharon,
Sharon mentions that she got her picture in the paper for a fundraiser. Now you see Duncan go and pick up this newspaper, that's getting ready to go into the sewer, picks it up, probably sees her picture. Then they go into the restaurant. That's where her husband says he got promoted and whispers how much money they're going to be making and stuff like that too. So it's a big day for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course you've got, you know, the phone call then to the restaurant, and Jill answers the phone call.
That's
and
iconic. I agree with that. It would have
Have
been
you
done a bit
checked-
differently. I totally agree about that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's stuff I would change. I totally agree with that.
For me, like, and we'll come on to it later, it's almost a perfect film for me. But I do take on board what you're saying about the slow burn. I know that's not for everyone.
She
and I-
breaks down when she gets that call because he says, "Have you looked on your children yet?" And she
Yes, exactly.
goes
Yeah, 'cause that's
nuts.
a mortal line, didn't he? Have you checked the children?
And she
like,
knows who it is. She says it. It's Duncan. It's,
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Kurt Duncan. It's Kurt Duncan. He's found my children. He's found them and stuff like that too. So it's like it's crazy. Yeah.
So the original or the detective on the case, Garber, he hears about this incident at the restaurant.
He's playing
He-
cards. Yeah, he's playing
Yeah,
cards,
yeah.
and he's very stubborn about it too. He's like going, "Yeah, I'm good here, guys. Can I see that real quick?"
I mean, if you wanted to be a bit nitpicky, like it's pretty like how he gets to find out straight away and all that is kind of, you know, a bit of luck,
Yeah.
really. But then Clifford obviously tries to call Jill, but he finds out the line is dead.
Line's been disconnected, right? The husband
yeah.
has the rifle out. And he says, "I'm a good shot. Don't worry about it. I'll be right here." And then that's where the dread starts again because all the lights are out. She's going to get some Milk Wise, old school milk glass bottles. That's right. That's when I think they still
Yeah,
delivered
yeah.
them door to door, and that's where you hear like the music start to pick up and what have you. Everything looks all good. She checks on the kids and stuff because it's a great scene where all the cops are going to the place after she gets the call and the kids are all good and everything's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, everything seems fine.
And then it's just that one scene where she goes back upstairs and she's sitting in the bed. That's when stuff starts to get real.
Well, she sees her son as well, who's actually got this candy like on him, and she's
Yeah, it's like a fruit
no
roll
way
with
of him
something on a
getting
stick. And it's like, "Oh, where'd you get the
Yeah.
candy?" And he's like really sick. And you're like, "Oh shit." Because there's a scene in her closet where the closet opens up a little bit. That's where she hears whispering.
oh shit, she hears Duncan's voice coming from the closet. Yeah, you know, she tries waking up her husband and realizes that Duncan is next
It's not,
to her in
it's
bed.
not her husband.
No. And then you got the chase scene there when he chases Jill across the room and tries to kill her. Clifford kind of just arrives bang in time. Then he again,
Yeah, he starts
A little
stripping
bit far-fetched.
her. He starts
Yeah.
stripping her nightgown. That's where he goes up, and there's like 3 shots. You figure out it's him. He goes up, lifts his head up, and puts the gun to his head, and realizes that he's dead, and just puts it down. Boy,
right? Yeah. And again, Clifford turning up when he does is a little bit far fetched, I think, but I can overlook that. But yeah, you know, Stephen.
and then it just pans to the house, and then you see the eyes, the face
yeah, in the closet
at the top of the house, and that's when the credits start.
But yeah, that's why I kind of got middled up, like, because when I said about Fright towards the end of Fright, I realized it was this one I was on about because you get the eyes in the house.
Yeah.
But the whole build up, obviously, Stephen, her husband, is like found unconscious, but he's still alive. Yeah, I mean, I really like this one. This is one of my top. This is in my top 20 slashes, maybe higher, maybe top 15.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's got.
It was very close to getting a PG rating, but they gave it an R rating eventually before it was put. This is a video nasty though. This was put into the list. I know, like in 1980, I believe it was.
Was it really on the night? Was it on the Nasty's list?
It was put on some type of list for what IMDb said.
It could have been on section 2 or 3. I can't remember on the original. I don't think it's on the original. I might be wrong, mine, but
like I say, worldwide it did 21,411,158. That number's probably gone up. Budget from 1.5 million, pretty good.
Why didn't Fred Walton go on and become like this really big director after this film? I don't understand.
Yeah,
that's one hell of a. You make almost 20.
Steve Fakey, a great writer.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, but yeah, a Happy Birthday to Me, which I highly suggest people watch. I was down on it when I was younger. I do appreciate it. It's probably considered the ending of What You Get, but it's still a great film.
Well,
So
Happy Birthday to Me, I think, is one of the best slasher films ever made.
yeah, not
The
Happy Birthday to
original
Me. I'm sorry, April Fool's Day, but
April Fool's Day, yeah,
yeah,
I love that as well. But the original story to this was based on a newspaper article about the harassment of a young woman babysitter in Santa Monica who received phone calls from her attacker from inside the house. And that's where they got the idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got Black Christmas as well, so I don't know how much of that is truth and what's not.
Right, exactly. To a victim, to your point, yeah, it has slasher elements to it. That's why we kind of do this something different here in the slasher stream, where it has heavy slasher elements because you have, like I say, this dread and stuff like that too. No real body count. You don't see no blood really or anything like that. You really don't. Not even at the end, really. You don't really see it. Just at those flashbacks, do you really see it? And but it just has those slasher elements. You have a person in this house. You don't know who the killer is at the time. So you have this invisible guest, as I call them. So, kind of stuff like that. That's what I kind of like about it. But
I consider it a slasher. I do. Another weird thing, I don't know if you read up on this, but during filming, right, was taking place of this, there was a thing in the actual location of the film called the Skid Row stabbing murders. Have you heard of that?
Where the Cecil Hotel is at. Yeah, it's where the Cecil Hotel is Skid Row. That's a hub for homeless and serial killers back in the 80s.
So there's scenes in this film where actual murder victims were found, and I think they used the steps of the LA Public Library as well in this film. Too.
Yeah.
The bar was called Torchy's in LA. That
was used in 48 Hours. Yeah, other films like that too.
And Brewster's Millions it was used in. But yeah, I've got Roger Ebert as well being one that absolutely. I think he liked the first 20 minutes again, like everyone else. I think he hated everything.
He included this in what you called it, his Women
in Danger. If anyone
Women in Danger,
check out Ebert. Was it Ebert and what's the
Siskel
other guy?
and Ebert? Siskel and Ebert.
And Ebert. YouTube Women in Danger, and it's like a half-hour special. And they go through all the slashes of the 1979, 80.
They go off on that. You can see a lot of clips on that. Yeah, they hate them big time.
I always go.
It's on an iconic. It's almost like a docu. It's almost like a docu 30-minute short.
It's like a documentary. Yeah, I go back to it every year or so. I just love.
It's almost like, have you not seen these slashers before? If you've not seen these films before, check them out. Like I say, if Siskel and Ebert don't like them, you'll probably like them. It's almost weird because they like Akira.
Right? So that documentary is warning you off all these films, but it's doing the opposite. It's making people want to watch them. You know?
They originally said, that's a little off topic, but they originally said it's very misogynistic. It's very, it's anti-women and all this stuff too. I'm like, these women are smarter as hell. And they're defending themselves and all this other stuff too, dude.
And it's not mentioned that, in some of these films, it's just as many men get killed as well.
Oh, dude,
maybe
yeah.
Maybe
if anything, they hate men, not women.
Yeah. What a time to be alive as well. 79, 19.
Yeah, that's the year I was born. Yeah.
Can you imagine, so you're going to the cinema every week, you're watching Prom Night, you're watching Terror Train, Christmas Evil. There's a different one every, do you know what I mean? Every single week, there seem to be one
The
or two.
Burning, A Nightmare in a Damaged Brain we'll later cover on this stream.
Yeah,
films like that. Don't answer the phone.
Windows, He Knows You're Alone.
Yeah.
And I was looking through, because there's a website called Numbers. Online you can see all the old cinema kind of what they grossed and when they come out.
Yeah.
And there was 2 or 3 slashes in the same week. It's insane, man. It's insane.
The slasher spoof film Student Body states that at the start of the film. During this time, literally every slasher that came out was almost an equivalent to a blockbuster film because people wanted to go see these things. So
there's another one. I know it's a spoof, but it's 1981. Right about that time. And while I was still alive, I was 10. in 1981. I'd love to have been able to have gone to the cinema, man, and I would have just
Oh
mapped it.
yeah, the
My
parents
Bloody
let you do it.
Valentine,
You sneak in there.
another one, The Burning. I could
Yeah,
go
the
on.
burning, all that great stuff.
Yeah.
So, Darren, go ahead, give me your score for this bad boy.
This one, right, is as close to a 10 as I can get. I can't quite.
Wow, I'm impressed. Okay,
It's a 9.5. I've just been obsessed with this film since I first saw it. I've got numerous posters, like foreign posters. I've got the US one sheet. I've got, you name it, I've got it when it comes to this film. I just think, to me, it's just a perfect film. Just slightly, there's one or two things that, like, maybe, like that I said with that one scene where it's a little bit far-fetched that he ends up right there at the end in the bedroom. But
you're right,
I
victim.
mean,
Yes, she does. She does save her man just before dawn. You're very correct about that. She sure does.
man, I love Just Before Dawn.
Yeah.
We covered that not long ago.
I give it a solid 7 out of 10. So I like Fright a little bit more.
Oh shit,
just a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really impressed by Fright and stuff like that too. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars in a heart, but a solid 7. It can go up wise and stuff like that too. But like I say, it's an all-time iconic film. That's for sure in the horror genre. Basically, like I said, this is on. They mention it all the time. It's on Bravo's Top 100. That's on YouTube. I remember watching that when I was younger. That's an early 2000s thing that Bravo did and stuff like that. That's when David Hess was still alive. So you see commentary with him. They talk to him. They talk to all these people. When A Stranger Calls is up there, I think it's like ranked 50 or in the 50s. Just for that is definitely.
Oh, that scene is iconic, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, it's an iconic one and used as a pretty damn good template for, of course, later films like Scream and all that other good stuff. Yes, Hess is the man there, Mr. Victim. That is definitely.
I tell you what,
sure.
I think David Hess is one of the greatest kind of villains in fucking movie history. The guy didn't get his like recognition while he was alive, I don't think. But
no, he didn't. That's for sure. So we got some scenes here, and it's funny with Kane's character. Her hair was obviously bundled up, and it was more perm wise. You know, she has curls in her hair, and so it's more bundled up here. She has it like regularly long, like and stuff. So, yeah, there's the scene I was talking about here. It's just like wow.
You can see, can you? How deathly thin he looks.
Yeah.
Definitely go back and compare the Sitter, the short film, with the first 20 minutes of this film as well, and you'll see, you know, how this film came about, really.
Even through that one from Tales from the Crypt, all through the house, and I'm talking about the film.
With Joan Collins, you mean? Yeah. Great segment.
Those two, he offers her a light, and she just lights up whatever, and he lets that lighter sit there. He lets that match sit there.
I think that Colleen Dewhurst is a superb actress as well. Who plays Tracy.
Yeah, she's very good.
She does a great job in this.
She's all going through there and stuff. Those eyes of hers, Carol Kane, like I say, interesting. They hide her circle quite well.
Beautiful, isn't she? Yeah,
she's very pretty.
She's not what I would call naturally good looking, but it's just something about her.
And this guy, of course, he's been in other films. Wise, I recognized him when I saw him. So,
well, the mother, Miss Mandrakis, is Rotunda Alda, and she was in a lot. She was in Double Jeopardy, The Dark Half, Girls' Night Out, Amityville 2. Was the
Girls' Night Out? I need to check. Oh yeah, Amityville 2 is a masterpiece.
Yeah. She was actually in Christmas Evil and The Fury as well.
Oh, she was in Christmas Evil. Yeah.
Carol Kane was in Pandemonium, was the other slasher spoof she did.
I have that one from Vinegar Syndrome. That's a Phil Hartman.
Soul.
Phil Hartman was in that.
Yeah, Alfred Soul directed it. It's guy who did Alice Sweet Alice.
Alice Sweet Alice.
Good. It really isn't as good as like Student Bodies or anything like that. But it's worth a watch, I would say. I love the poster art to this as well. I might be overselling this film, I think, a little bit, but
yeah. Columbia Pictures. So Columbia Pictures isn't mentioned in the film at all. Not in the credits, nothing, which is crazy.
Yeah. And that's quite like a big studio for this. Kind of started out as a really small film.
Yeah. just a lot of stills and what have you.
But why do you think that people don't talk about this as much as they should then? Do you think it's because of that middle section?
I do believe so, yeah, because it's all, like I said, even Uncle Bill from Dead Pit has mentioned that. It's like the first and ending is good, just the middle is just really crap-wise, I guess you mean. Like, say there's a lull.
I remember them saying that as well.
Yeah.
Vic Tim in the chat, what do you think of When a Stranger Calls Back? Because me and Chris hasn't seen it. I've been meaning to. I've got it on the set.
That's a good quad billing. So you have zombie flesh eaters. Borderline I haven't seen, but I've heard about it.
Holy shit, man. That is some night of the
Somewhere in Time. That's an interesting one. Yeah, Jane Seymour and Christopher Reeve.
You could go to the cinema there and see like back to back this and Zombie. Or Zombie 2, I should say. Fuck me, man. That would be my idea of like heaven in a way,
Dark Magazine. Oh, that's a good one.
That's an interesting one. Yeah,
that's very good. Yeah,
that's the French one. That's the old DVD cover.
There's your one from Second Sight.
Yeah, I'm not fussed on that, to be honest. That's the cover I would prefer. The original image like that.
Yeah, there's that one. Don't Watch It Alone. Oh, that's pretty good. Interactive. Oh, that's the DVD. That's nice. From MIA, so that's UK. Oh, that's very good.
I remember. That's
that's very good. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. So that's pretty good. So that was a Slasher Stream 12. Like I say, Babysitters in Peril and Home Invasion stuff. Of course, we talked about Fright from 71 and then When a Stranger Calls from 79. Boy, back to back. So these are bookends that like I say, you can put together and watch them. Definitely. Your overall thoughts, Darren, on these films?
Yeah, nothing's changed. Well, Fright slightly went up a little bit, in my opinion. I've always loved Fright, and it was always like a solid kind of 7.5, 8, but it's gone up to 8.5. When a Stranger Calls, I've no doubts that I'm going to love this film for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Highly rewatchable, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great kind of double bill. Victim is just saying there, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, if it's a he or she, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're saying they prefer the second one as a whole. Not much can compare to the original's opening 15 minutes, so great tension. And that's fair. I can't wait to see the sequel. I'm going to keep this out now to make sure that I do pop in the sequel in the next week.
Scream Factory did have it. I think it's way out of print now. Love Wait Until Dark that Russell mentions. I have that one from Warner Archive. I need to watch that one too.
The 1968 film.
Yeah, 68.
Aubrey Hepburn. That's a great one.
Yeah, Alan Arkin and stuff like that too. Richard Crenna's in that one as well.
That's one I think that influenced See No Evil as well, with the blind girl.
Yeah, the blind girl of Mia Farrow, as you can say. Yeah, and Aubrey Hepburn and all that good stuff. Very cool. Darren, what do you have going on in you and Dirk's channel, Subjective Perspective Collective?
Right, so Sunday we got a Florinda Balkan special where we're going to be talking about her. The 3 films we're going to mention is Last House on the Beach, Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion, and Flavia the Heretic, which I've never seen.
Yeah. I know her from, of course, Woman in a Lizard Skin, and then, of course, Don't Torture a Duckling, both Lucio Fulci films and stuff like that. She's very pretty.
I mean, for me, my favorite film of hers is probably Don't Torture a Duckling and Footprints on the Moon, because I think she's amazing.
Footprints on the Moon, yeah, that's the other one.
That's
you and Dirk highly recommend that film. Yeah.
That's where you get her as the main character throughout the whole film, whereas Don't Torture a Duckling, she plays a witch who's in it for like 20-25 minutes, and that's my favorite scene in any film, by the way, is her like Florinda Balkan scene where she gets killed in
gets whipped with the chain
in the graveyard, and the song comes on the radio
as they're doing it,
she's
they
crawling
surround
up the fucking embankment and all these cars are just driving past her, and that's probably one of my favorite scenes ever. But yeah, we got that to come. I'm not sure what we got to come the week after that, and then me and Dirk need to have a talk about that. But that's the main thing. So tune in,
Yeah.
And their Subjective Perspective Collective. If anyone can sub, I thank you all.
I forgot to put that in the info bar. I'll do that after the stream is done with, when I go into YouTube Studio and stuff like that. And I don't think I did. I probably did, but if not, I'll definitely do that and link that channel. Check it out if you like. If you like giallo, if you like Euro horror and stuff like that, and all that good stuff across the pond and the sea and all these other great countries that do this great work. Definitely check those dudes out. They know what they're doing. Sometime next week, hopefully, me and Darren will be back on our podcast, Black Gloves podcast and stuff. We're talking about 2 films. We're talking about Visiting Hours, and we're talking about Bad Dreams. So we're talking about horror and hospitals. And I can't wait to talk about those 2 films with Darren. That should be a good one. Definitely check that out.
Yeah, a bit of a spoiler. I think Bad Dreams is better than Dream Warriors. But yeah,
I do like Bad Dreams. It has the dude, I forget the name, the dude that played the cult leader in that was in Invasion USA.
Yeah, Richard Lynch.
Yeah,
That's going to be a fun one. But that's going to be a more relaxed, like, on the podcast. It'll probably only be about 45 minutes to an hour, and we won't go scene for scene, but we'll give it a good review.
Yeah, we just have fun there on that podcast. And future content on my channel too. I'll probably do a Slasher Saturday that it will be Don't Answer the Phone. Don't answer the phone. Nice. I try to do this. I'm going to try to do this every other week. I work in the grocery business, so I stay busy, that's for sure. But it's always cool doing these slasher streams, and expect future streams from us too in the future. Me and Darren are going to talk about that off stream here and all this other stuff too. Thank you everybody for watching and just checking us out. I hope you like what you see here. But that's we love talking about slashers and giallo in general. So it's great. Great stuff. So I am a Black Glove Reviews, also known as Chris C. That is Darren from Subjective Perspective Collective. We went on pretty good here, not close to 2 hours, but that's okay. We like to make it simple here. And all I can say is check out these films and stuff like that. And to you ladies and gents, just be very careful stalking the Neon Knights there, because there's another one, the Black Gloves, that's stalking around with you. And babysitters, if you all have a problem, make sure you call the police real quick, because there could be a hider in the house. Y'all take care, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy the weekend too. I'll see y'all next time.